Bogarts, the 0-1, and this is lifted into left field. It backs up Brantley. He makes the catch, and the Houston Astros are headed to the World Series. Your 2021 American League champions, the Houston Astros. A mob scene to the left of the pitcher's mound.
Hum, baby.
Enjoy this great game.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Hum Baby Baseball channel. Today, continuing the team previews, we're doing the Houston Astros. Now we got H-Town Wheelhouse from Locked On Astros. So go check out the channel right here, Locked On Astros. I'll put the link in the description and in the comments section. But we're going to talk a little Astros and overall. Usually I start with the offseason. But yeah, you didn't do a whole lot in the offseason, but you did bring back, your big starter. So other than that, what are your thoughts on the offseason, Phil?
The offseason, I think a lot of Astros fans were really hoping that we would go out and get relief pitching. I know Chafin was out there. That was a target that several people were looking at. I know we got Montero, who's coming in, who didn't really get to – he did a little bit. Baez, who is out with an injury, so we're hoping he yields. And I really think James Click and the front office is waiting – we bring in Hector Neris, we bring in Nico Goodrum, but with the relief pitching, I just think that is a key concern for them at the All-Star break itself. When we get to the trade deadline is when they're going to be making some moves. Goodrum was the depth option, so was Franklin, Barreto, and Lewis Brinson. I really believe Brinson is one of those guys that's a lottery ticket, and that lottery ticket could pay dividends. Because he was a stud. Like in the first 2 or 3 teams he was with and traded to, he was a top 10 outfield prospect. So they're hoping, the Astros, what they do is they get these guys, they hope they can find something. Charlie Morton, we turned him into a pitching god. And so who knows what these guys will yield. Maybe just depth moves, but overall, we were expecting some relief pitching help, but I guess they'll get that in the halfway point.
That's not a bad offseason. You still got, a lot of guys coming back. Obviously, you lost Correa. I know that had to hurt, but overall, you still got a lot of guys coming back.
So he was a part of our core 4. It was Correa, Bregman, Altuve, and Gurriel, who had a record postseason games together. It was the infield that had seen the most playoff time in Major League history. So naturally, when you lose that guy, everybody's like, well, who's going to replace Correa, right? Jeremy Pena is the guy. Jeremy Pena is the man they've dubbed. They have crowned him as our next shortstop. It really, really depends on how he does. They've got other guys to back him up if he kind of fumbles in the beginning, but they're very, very high on this kid. He's got a major league pedigree. He's got plus stuff defensively. He's got potential to be an all-star, to be a stalwart player at shortstop, but only time will tell.
Right, I'm looking at his stats. Yeah, he hit 287 in AAA last year, so we'll see what he does. And he's already listed here in the lineup for Fangraphs. So I'll go ahead and start with this lineup. Obviously, like I said, Altuve's back, Brantley, Bregman, Alvarez, Yuli Gurriel, Kyle Tucker. You got everyone coming back. And if Jeremy Pena is even, close to Correa, you all should be pretty damn good again offensively.
Yeah, exactly. I really think Bregman is going to light the world on fire. You're going to see the return of an Alex Bregman to like a 2019 style form where we really still feel like in Houston that he was robbed of the MVP from Mike Trout just because of the great year he had. But, hey, he's Mike Trout. If you're going to lose to anybody, lose to that guy, right? Yeah. Brantley, even though he's a year older, they will put him at DH some. They'll put Alvarez in left field, but Kyle Tucker, I'm telling you, Kyle Tucker was my pick last year for our offensive MVP, and outside of a bad start, he was MVP type. This guy is getting attention from even MLB Network about getting potential MVP votes and probably one of the top 3 players in the league when it's all said and done.
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, 30 home runs last season. 294. I didn't even realize he was this good last year. That's amazing.
He was a very quiet good. See, when he first came up, he was unimpressive to the eye. Like the aesthetics weren't there. People were like, oh, he's lazy. He's kind of slumming around the outfield. He looks like he doesn't care. He wasn't the big pizzazz guy. He wasn't Yuli with the hair. He wasn't Bregman with I'm in your face. He didn't have those things. But there's a reason why the Astros did not include him in any of the trades, because every time there's a trade offer on the table since he's been in the organization, his name comes up.
Yeah. Yeah, I see why. The other guy I mentioned you're bringing back, obviously Verlander.
Yes.
You got Valdez. You got Luis Garcia, Jose Urquidy. Is this about Christian Javier? Is this what you expect the rotation to look like?
They haven't said. I really believe they're going to put Jake Odorizzi just because of what they're paying him. And I think in this starting rotation, you need Javier to be a long reliever, a guy who can come in and pitch 3-4 innings if needed. A lot of these younger guys, Garcia, Urquidy, Javier, the guys that came up through the system, Belak, they all have done a lot of piggybacking in the minors. So some of them are conditioned, and don't be surprised if the Astros don't pull some Rays type pitching moves with their starting pitchers. They may go with the 6-man rotation to start the season. I know Justin Verlander doesn't like that idea, but if you're trying to keep a cap on his innings, he has to get to 130 to get that $25 million option for next year to be able to, be eligible for it. But at the end of the day, this pitching staff, although it doesn't have the DeGroms and the Scherzers, we do have the return of Justin Verlander, and I think he's got something to prove. I think he feels like he owes it to the Astros because he knows he sat on the shelf and gathered $66 million and didn't really do anything for it.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to re-sign with the Astros. I heard something about the teammates weren't happy with him. I don't know if any of that was true, but
that all came out. I don't really know that was true. I find that we've had Ben Verlander on our show several times, and just everything he's told us, that just seems so far from the truth. But of course, the only guys who know are the guys who was talking about, right?
Right. You wouldn't think they'd put that out there. It could have been just anything. You know how rumors get started. So obviously not true enough to keep him from coming back. So I mean, he's back in the rotation, and some good names. I forgot about Odorizzi. So yeah, he's there as well. Strong rotation, and then you have the bullpen coming. And I just want to get your thoughts overall on who the closer is. Guess it's going to be Ryan Presley again.
Yeah, it's going to be Ryan Presley, and I expect him. I know he's 33, but he's a guy that I don't know why you wouldn't offer him an extension or start talking to him, because he's a free agent after this next year.
Oh, really?
And closers that are on top of their game come at a premium. And if the Astros can talk him into staying before that, that occurs, would be key. You got Stanek in the back end. You've got Phil Maton, who is just like got ice in the veins. And you've got Pedro Baez. You don't know what he's going to do. Hector Neris, hopefully he's got more plus stuff, swing and miss stuff than not. We've got a good mix. We lack left-handers. Our one left-hander is Blake Taylor. And Phil Maton, even though he's a right-hander, my co-host the other day, Eric Heisman, reminded me of this. Even though Maton's a right-hander, he does very well against left-handers. So he's almost like having a left-hander on the mound that throws from the right side.
That's always nice. And Baez was also awesome. He was really good for y'all last year. I know he didn't pitch very much though. Was he hurt?
Right. Yeah. He ended up there was some COVID stuff, I believe.
Was it COVID?
Yeah, it was COVID, and he was out for like an extended period of time. Now there are guys in there like Brian Abreu. Some people are saying he won't make the roster, but here's the thing: if he doesn't, he's out of options and he's gone. Other question marks: Josh James. This kid's can throw 100 plus miles an hour. He just can't hit the strike zone. And and then you got Belak. Belak's really struggled. Belak's struggling right now a lot in spring training, so he remains a question mark. We have guys out there in AAA like John Bermudez, Sean Dubin, Pete Solomon may come up. I know he pitched some in the major leagues last year. He would be a good long reliever, spot starter guy. Hunter Brown, you may see him in June, but he's a starter. And so when you start, Sean Dubin right there, you will probably see Dubin this year. You may see Brett Canine come up from Sugarland. Jimmy Endersby moved up quick through the ranks. We interviewed him. He's at Corpus. He'll start there more than likely, and then he'll end up in Sugarland. Martinez is another pitcher that will probably come up and get some service time just because he pitched last year for a game or two. So they've got some guys. That could see the major leagues. I don't know that they're looking for those guys to really make a bullpen impact, but they'll be there if they need them.
Yeah, that's nice. You got depth, and I know you have some big hitters as well. I seen Pedro Leon just smashed a home run in a spring training game. I think it was a home game. I don't know, but he just smashed a home run. I think the other day.
Pedro Leon has a lot of power. The only drawback with Pedro Leon is he missed almost 2 full seasons because of defecting from Cuba. And also, he literally has not played competitive baseball since like 2018 up until this last year. So he had the COVID year really screwed that up for him. But he is a kid that the Astros are saying he is our center fielder of the future. So Chas McCormick may just be a placeholder. Jake Myers is starting on the disabled list, or the what is it called now? The IL.
The IL.
Yeah, the IL. We don't want to offend anybody. But it is, he's on the IL probably the first third of the season, I would think, because when you have shoulder surgery, you want to kind of baby that. You don't want to rush that back.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But yeah, I mean, it looks like I think with the prospects y'all got, if you need them. And most of everyone coming back except Correa, but you got somebody ready to go. Hopefully, he's going to be pretty damn good here at shortstop. I think y'all should be favorites again to repeat as champions, at least in the American League West. I know the Mariners. That's the next thing I was going to talk about is the West, and any teams that you might be concerned about. And the Mariners are getting better, but the A's are pretty much in a fire sale.
The A's are going to be your cellar dwellers. They're going to be the Baltimore of the West Coast, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You hate that for Oakland A's fans because right now you don't know if Oakland's going to stay in Oakland. I mean, if they can't get their stadium stuff together, they may be out in Vegas with the Raiders, and so that's a whole nother. That's like a whole episode, right? The Mariners, I do believe that the Mariners will be in the wild card. I know some people are being very bold and like putting them over the Astros. I find it very difficult to believe that the Astros don't win the West. I believe they win the West the very minimum. The Angels and the Rangers are going to jockey for third place, but they're still not there. There's still a lot of lacking in pitching on both clubs. And I mean, hey, fun lineups. You talking about the AL West is going to be a fun division to watch. There's going to be a lot of home runs. There's going to be a lot of strikeouts. So I believe it's going to be famine or feast. You're going to see a lot of 10-2 games. You're going to see a lot of 2-1 games. So I think it's the Astros, Mariners, and if I'm going to be bold and predict, I believe it will be the Angels, then the Rangers, then the Athletics.
That sounds about right. Yeah, man. The Rangers, like their lineup is like you said, with Simeon now and Seager,
I mean it's stellar.
But I think John Gray's their ace, if I'm not mistaken. So. No
offense to John Gray. I couldn't do what he does, but
no. I mean, John Gray's great, but he's the guy you might want as your number 3 or 4, not your ace. But that's the thing. The Angels too. The Angels added. They got Syndergaard and they got Ohtani, but their pitching always falls apart. That's what they always lack. Obviously, they always got Trout. They got Rendon.
Now I tell you what is exciting, and we want Mike Trout to be healthy because when the Angels come to town, I mean, who doesn't want to go see Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani hitting the same lineup? And Ohtani is starting against Justin Verlander. I believe Justin Verlander hasn't been announced as the opening day starter, but I'm pretty sure that they don't go with anybody else other than JV.
That's an awesome matchup. Yeah, it's going to be JV in this. I mean, is everyone looking good in spring training?
JV, of course, he's only had 2 spring training starts. He hit his limit of 50. He actually got 51 pitches. He wanted like 5 more. Dusty's like, no, you're done. And he slowly worked the guys into the lineup, the veterans, but he's been real slow with that because he said, hey, look, we played into November. These guys didn't get as much rest. This is a shortened spring training. So the young guys are going to get a lot of playing time. Pitching wise, for the most part, we look good. Brandon Bielak again he's just something is not the same with him since 2020. He just hasn't been stellar. He's got good stuff. He's got like his projectability is he should be at least a number 4 or 5 guy in a major league rotation. He's got that good of stuff. He just for whatever reason he has a problem with getting shelled when he's out there. I mean, he gets crushed.
Oh, really? That sucks.
And he's a good dude.
That's
He,
awesome.
he came from Notre Dame. He played with Kevin Biggio at Notre Dame. I mean, he's got the pedigree. He's got the work ethic. I interviewed him in 2019 when he was with the Round Rock Express before the Astros moved AAA to Sugar Land.
Yeah.
And I was just really impressed with things he had to say, the way he worked. So I hate to see it when he struggles because he's generally one of the good guys in that bullpen.
Yeah, I mean that's too bad, but you still got a lot of good depth in the pen, and yeah, I think I agree with you about the Astros being definitely favorites. I mean, I thought about picking the Mariners. I kind of wanted to, but it's just not quite ready yet. But I do see the Mariners as a playoff team. But the Astros definitely favorites to repeat. Who knows how deep they'll go this time? Obviously won the AL last year, so the goal has got to be the World Series championship, I think.
It does, and I believe that they go back to their 6th straight ALCS. And trying not to be a homer until someone knocks us off to go to the World Series this year. I just don't see why we wouldn't. I really think when you get to the playoffs, experience is huge, and there's no other club that has as many games logged in the Fall Classic or in the playoffs than we do in recent years, and that always helps. I mean, small things like Jeremy Pena. They thought enough about this kid that he was on the taxi squad for the ALCS and the World Series, and he has not logged a single MLB at bat. So if that's the depth they have, and that's the kind of hope they have in Jeremy Pena. But I will say this: as Alex Bregman goes, so go the Astros in 2022. Mm-hmm. If Alex Bregman does return to true form, it is going to ignite the rest of this offense. And Tucker, Altuve, Alvarez, they're going to be motivated. One other thing I would add: Altuve said, "I'm going to stop hitting for power. I'm just going to hit for contact."
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think you're going to see Altuve have one of his best years at the plate.
I mean, because he had a bounce back year last year. He struggled in 2020, and then he was a little bit better last year, if I remember right.
Yes, yeah, he was. Yeah, he's and in 2020 he had some personal issues he was dealing with. Apparently, he lost someone that was close to him, and everybody, everybody's like, "Oh, he's distracted by all the controversy." I was like, he's a lot stronger than that. But here's my question to you, okay? Because I know you are a West Coast guy. Do you think we still see the boos as vehement as they were last year? Do you think it's still kind of strong, or do you think it kind of fades out?
It's got to fade out eventually. I mean, I've been telling people, they forget about that. It's sooner or later. I mean, we're talking 2017. I know it didn't come out till 2019. Y'all had, and then everything happened with COVID, so people didn't get their chance to boo. But now we've had a full season. I think it's gonna be a lot lighter. I mean, you're still gonna hear some boos, I think, but it'll be a lot more tame, I think, this season, I would guess.
That's kind of my thinking, and it's just something you can't control. And one thing that I love about this team and this clubhouse is they control what only they can control, and that's what they worry about. So they don't let the outside noise be a distraction. Hey, I was going to tell you, since you're a San Francisco guy, we actually have several times a year we have Clay Hensley on our show.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, he was a pitcher with the Giants when they won one of their World Series, and and so he's become a good friend of the show. He's given us some cool insight on Dusty Baker and stuff like that. I think he was here when Dusty was here, didn't win it, and then he was here on one of the years when they did win it. So.
Wow, so yeah, he was drafted by the Giants, I think, and then he ended up.
I believe so.
That's cool, man. But yeah, make sure that everyone who's watching is going to go check out. I'm sure most Astros fans already know about you, but if not, go check out Locked On Astros. Even if you're not an Astros fan, check out Locked On Astros. I'll put the link down below. But I really appreciate you being here, and hope you all have a good 2022 season.
Yeah, thank you. You too. Hey, thanks for having us on.
No problem. If you play the Dodgers in the World Series, I'm gonna be rooting for the Astros like I did in 2017. Y'all need to take those Dodgers out.
We do. It's always good to see them lose, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. As a Giants fan, I mean, I'm fair. I try not to be biased. I know they're real good, but I definitely got to root against them. So I don't care.
There you go.
Yeah. But all right. Y'all have a fantastic day. We're gonna talk to y'all next time. to the hole. I got no chance of ever making my